Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kumar, your moderator for this afternoon on this very exciting webinar being sponsored by two companies together. Actionable Science is a conversational artificial intelligence solution company. And with artificial science is SRM, the Strategic Resource Management Company, which is an advisory and services company and a strategic partner to Actionable Science. Both of them are sponsoring this event. The main focus on this event is to share how Patelco leveraged artificial intelligence automation within the credit union space. So the focus is on Eric Welch, who's going to make this presentation. A couple of ground rules before I hand it over to Eric. Number one is that all of us will pretty much remain on mute throughout this. So all of you participants who have joined us today would not be able to speak during the presentation. But towards the right bottom, you do have a chat window. So if you can kindly type in your questions for us to take a Q&A session at the end of this whole webinar, we'll be very happy to get to your questions. That's about it. Have a fantastic time, and I'm handing over to Eric. Eric?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Welch, and I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes or so helping you walk through the journey that we went through in introducing AI automation to help our member experience. Just a quick look at the agenda. I'm going to talk for a moment about myself. Just a quick look at the agenda. I'm going to talk for a moment about myself, just my experience in operations and sales. Walk through the thought process and journey and why a chatbot. Talk a little bit about how we generated internal buy-in, what worked well, and what I would advise you guys not to do in the future. Empowering the team members to enable effective member interaction. So we'll walk through the goals of what we were trying to create based on some lessons learned from past conversions. And then talk about how important it was to introduce a modern solution that mirrors the experience people expect to have in the Twitter age. And then we'll close with some creation of measurable outcomes. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a bit of a hybrid in the banking industry, financial services industry. So this is my 30th year in the financial services space. This is my 30th year in the financial services space. I've been on the solution delivery side, the sales side, the fulfillment side, and talking to members for those credit union folks or customers in the banking space. And I've also been involved in working on projects that are focused on process improvement. Working at a large credit union today, there's been a large journey we've taken, especially since the recession ended from 2010 to 2012, and how we're modernizing the experience and how we retrieve information and how we serve our members more effectively. So we're really focusing on leveraging technology that makes sense, that's scalable. Whether you're from a credit union or a bank, there's no such thing as excess money to spend on innovation and technology. So we'll walk through the wonderful journey we took with Actionable Science with that. Currently, we're large sales and offering well-priced services and products that meet the financial needs of our members. And we're joining that conversation about financial well-being. So making sure that we're having interactive conversations and presenting solutions that make sense for the member. And just over 80 years successfully serving members in Northern California. So the challenge we were facing for anybody who has an old knowledge repository, Patelco has a custom-built intranet solution that we built about 25 years ago. At the time, it was pretty innovative, and we've been trying to leverage that platform for team members to find the information they need. We recently, in the last few years, introduced member satisfaction surveys and we're getting very careful about the information they need. We recently, in the last few years, introduced member satisfaction surveys, and we're getting very careful about measuring the member experience. And we've gone through a number of conversions over the last 5 years. Notably, the bill pay conversion we did is going to be the focus of this conversation. Because of all the growth we've had as an organization and the modernization of platforms, we were having a hard time with wait times across all touch points. Branch, call center, all the interactions we were having with the member experience space were being harmed by how long it took to have the team find the information they need for day-to-day business, as well as for the bill pay conversion we did a few years ago. Some of the root cause with where we were at, the repositories are comfortable with the solution of finding information via our intranet, but it was ineffective. And then as we were growing and opening new branches, expanding the call center, we were finding that newer employees to the organization were really frustrated at how difficult the repository was to use. So that's what I'm calling the tribal organizational knowledge. Part of the organization was in the old way, and then the other part of the organization wanted a modern solution. For those of us who have people who write procedures, create operational process, it was a extremely difficult experience uploading the content and keeping the content relevant for the user. And so when I call out content management changes, we had so much information on our intranet solution, I honestly have to call the solution the dumping ground. So it came from a place of well-intended meaning, but over years, the content was so hard to find and so poorly organized that the team was really having a hard time finding what they need. And we realized, based on having new members to the organization, team members, and making sure we support our existing team members, we really realized as we were about to launch another set of conversions, specifically a mobile conversion and an online banking conversion, we realized we wanted to learn from the mistakes we had made with the bill pay conversion. And I wasn't in a position where we had time to repair the intranet by introducing a new solution. We realized trying to modify the existing database wasn't going to guarantee results for about 8 to 10 months worth of system conversions. So Actionable Science really was on our mind as an opportunity to look at what we don't want to repeat. We wanted something that was going to be scalable, easy to implement, and really would be what I called a quick win for the organization. Historically, we've been slow to modify, slow to modernize. So this was really an opportunity for me as a senior leader to work with doing something completely different. And hence our working relationship with Actionable Science. With the online banking, mobile banking conversions ahead of us, we were really focused on making a promise of a Twitter-like experience. So we wanted an interface that we were really focused on making a promise of a Twitter-like experience. So we wanted an interface that really resonated with the team, whether you were an existing team member or whether you were new to the organization. We wanted something that was attractive, easy to use, easy to access, that frankly the staff would enjoy using and therefore build momentum and build adoption. It was important that we quickly retrieve content. So those of us who use Twitter and those other social media solutions, going into a chat experience where you can quickly find what you need, provide feedback on what you need, is something that was really attractive to us as a leadership team. And we really saw this as an opportunity to work with Actionable Science to solve that. It was also hard for us in the past to...
Eric, I apologize for a quick interjection on the... Seems to be some background noise. So my request is all of the presenters who are not speaking, could you kindly go on mute? Thank you very much. And everybody in audience, thanks for your patience.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. One key factor that we did not experience before working with Actionable Science, we had no real meaningful way to get relevant feedback. So sometimes you have team members who would reach out and talk about a positive and negative experience they had with procedural retrieval, with operational FAQ retrieval. But wouldn't it be great to have a solution where at every interaction, you had the person anonymously provide the feedback on whether something was useful, whether it wasn't useful, and what we might be able to focus on going forward to make it a better experience retrieving procedural information and other data. And for those of us who were creating the content, so for all of you managing or have been procedural writers, creating content for the team to use that's clear, easy to follow, replicable, it was really important that the admin console for the new solution actually worked well, and that the team creating the content enjoyed creating it, and that it was easy for them to keep information relevant. So one of the journeys we took as we were getting ready for this this mobile online banking conversion, I realized there was several swim lanes of buy-in internally that we needed to build on to ensure that everyone was excited and had bought into making this change. Going to an AI bot solution was something completely new for Patelco. And again, going back to that 20-year intranet solution that was homegrown, to an AI bot solution was something completely new for Patelco. And again, going back to that 20-year intranet solution that was homegrown, we realized there was a cultural shift that needed to occur, but that change management's a journey, and you have to have everyone enrolled. So from a team member buy-in, as I've mentioned before, keeping information relevant, not wanting to slide back into the past was super important for us. And we wanted this to be something that was adaptable and that we would continue building on going forward. So we didn't want just a one-trick pony, so to speak. We wanted a solution that was scalable and that would lead us into the future. From a partner buy-in, it was important that we had a partner in Actionable Science that understood our problem, listened, and gave me a solution that would be organization. We have 37 branches and 90 people in our call center. Most of our member-facing team members are in the call center or the branch network, what we call retail. For them, it was important to provide those memorable experiences, but also provide high satisfaction, which had been negatively impacted through our previous bill pay conversion. Of course, IT wanted something that would be easily deployable and integratable into our current intranet solution, but something that was not going to create a lot of extra work or time to keep updated, and so something they could see going forward and using for years. And of course, the people providing content wanted something that would really be robust and provide that great experience with accurate, up-to-date content. This is something, this is probably one of the most important slides in what I want to say today. Along with those partner buy-ins, we realized that at our organization, the team, the folks that are working directly with the member, they are the ones that have the most experience in what is working or not working in our member interactions. So we got a group of people together and decided to create a service champion team where we selected key individuals from each key department that touches the member to create a group called the Service Champions, where we would leverage them to make sure training was delivered in a way we wanted it delivered, that people practiced and got experience using the AI bot, and that they had a safe place where they could provide real-time feedback on what was working and not working well. And real-time feedback on what was working and not working well. And I can tell you 3 years later, that team is still together. So keeping innovation on track with these champions, there's some points I made in the last slide, but what was super, super important, just to highlight a few things on this slide, having the AI bot have the ability, at the bottom left-hand portion of the slide, provide useful, not useful feedback, not just to the champions, but also in the interface. That was something we've never had the ability to do before. So at the point of interaction closing, you could give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, along with indicating why you're giving it a thumbs up or thumbs down. We also wanted to be able to track trends. We had a lot of anecdotal or tribal knowledge in what we believed. Having that ability to provide that at each interaction and actually being able to track that was something we had never had at our disposal before. We also wanted it to be easy for the team to find. And so just like any AI bot or just like in the Twitter age of social media, having that icon that everyone resonates with, easy to find, was super important for us. And so I want to explain a little bit. This slide is talking about Emma. And if you talk to an Actionable Science, they might not have the word ask in front of Emma. The point I want to make about Ask Emma, we decided as a champion group to brand Emma as someone who is a part of our team. So just like you ask an SME or ask a trusted employee, we purposely decided to call the AI bot Ask Emma versus Emma with the team right away. So instead of it being a new thing, we wanted Emma to be something that the team would embrace as a part of our way of doing business, so to speak, a part of the Patelco family. And it was also important, as we went on the journey of the conversions, we wanted team members to be able to celebrate their experiences helping members, resolving problems, and being able to celebrate those individuals that embrace the new technology the fastest and the most consistently. So we wanted to create a new tribal experience, so to speak, in a positive way, where those positive interactions would make a difference, inspiring others that were hesitating, adopting, and by celebrating those stories, we actually built a lot of great excitement as we went through the conversion around Ask Emma. And as we went through the conversion around Ask Emma, and as in the past conversion where we saw a drop in service experience, it was amazing as we focused on all these actions with the champions providing feedback, we actually had very little degradation in service. And in fact, service measures across the board were where we expect them to be during a non-conversion period. In 80 years of existence and several years of me being here, we've never had that positive experience. So along that journey of empowering team members, I want to talk a little bit about content and support. Along with making sure content was relevant, new content was added, prioritizing the order in which we added that content was really important. And so a few minutes, we'll talk through what the experience was in creating that experience. And of course, a part of our dumping ground problem was not just keeping new content up to date, but of course, removing and recycling content that should never be presented to the team anymore. And so on this slide, there's a point that I just want to reemphasize about the champions. So I mentioned on this slide, the model was critical to building interest, excitement, and providing necessary feedback to make continuous improvements. In our past, Patelco had been in a place where we tended to take big projects where you don't see value added until the end of the project. So project might have a number of steps, a number of people going for a period of months. This is our first experience in being able to introduce an agile or a continuous. And so leveraging Emma in that way, I never anticipated that to be an outcome, but that was an outcome of working with these Emma champions. And happy to say after a 10-month conversion period with both platforms, we had such success around Emma, or as we call it, our new employee, Ask Emma. We actually made a decision to integrate Emma throughout all the departments throughout the organization, where all procedural content, all product content, FAQs would be linked through the Ask Emma console to have access to the team. And we're continuing that journey as we speak, but we've gotten about 80% of all the departments throughout the organization converted to Emma from the previous process. So did this work? I bet some folks want to know what our success was with this. So these numbers are looking at the last 18 months of experience with Emma. Initially, the first 30 to 60 days after launch, the team's rating of Emma was 46% useful or successful in presenting the content or information that folks needed. As of the end of last month, we're at an average of 91%. So in an 18-month period, 15 to 18-month period, we've gotten close to 95% is where 95 to 100% is where I want to be. And the previous solution, and when we surveyed people, I could not get above 30%. So this was transformational for us to get to a place where we're at 91%. And Emma has increased, the usage has increased 1,100% as of June 2019 versus when I started measuring it closely in March of 2018. Thankfully, we have a help desk that is available for complex question and answer and solutions. That team used to get the questions that Emma is now answering. And so those thousands of questions that are coming to Emma every quarter used to be a phone call to an individual who would then go to our database and try to look up the answer. So the experience to say it's been transformational is not an overstatement. So winding down to the last several things I want to show the group today. This is actually a view into what Emma looks like in the admin console. This is a dashboard that my team looks at. I'll admit some of them look at it multiple times a day because they get excited about the content. That shows folks at a glance where we might be in terms of interactions, where someone's engaged the bot, questions that were answered. We can break down by department and by the entire database the number of questions in the database. And then we can look at any moment in time the number of users that are in the console for one reason or another. And this data is broken out by week, month, by different periods of time. And sharing this with retail leadership has been really amazing for them to understand that something is easy, but yet it can provide you the data you need. And I'll admit I've had a couple of executives come down to the department to play around with this console. Some of the key indicators, measurable outcomes. So there, if you look at the bottom of this slide, I can see at a glance, based on a period of time, what the most popular topics are that people are asking the bot. So it looks like we have a lot of interest in MFA and bill pay. We can look at this data in short periods of time, as well as on a monthly, weekly, and 12-month basis. You'll notice the box on here that's called Need Training. And so there's an opportunity for folks in the console to see where do we need to have Emma give more attention to certain topics, and how are those topics trending. So it's been interesting as we've gained use of the platform. The good news is we've gotten exponentially more feedback on what people want to see more of, less of, and what they'd like to see expanded further. See more of, less of, and what they'd like to see expanded further. Q&A management. So previously, Q&A management had been in our heads. So we had no data that gave us an opportunity to look at procedures, the question and management process. How you publish those things was very difficult. Ask Emma makes it very easy to create content, whether it's PDF, non-PDF, and actually review and publish that content, share the content with others prior to it being published, and then published on the spot. So this is an example of the team using the console in that way. Going back to reporting analytics, Actionable Science has been amazing as their first customer in the financial services space. One of the things that was important for Actionable Science to do with Ask Emma was the reporting. And so we've been on an iterative journey with Actionable Science to make sure the reporting is robust. What we need as a large, complex credit union, it gives me the opportunity to share trends with the executive team and with retail leadership, and also allows us to actually go into certain chat sessions anonymously where we can see where folks might be confused, as well as getting a better sense even of slang and words that people of different ages use, so we can train Emma to be able to look up something better. In the past, something as simple as misspelling the name of a procedure was extremely difficult. Something the exact same way. As many of us know who've been in a hurry, sometimes the team will mistype something, they will spell something wrong. This is a great opportunity to learn how we can train Emma, but also report on those experiences. I'll have to admit, this is one of my favorite parts of Ask Emma. Chat review and feedback. I was just working with my team the other day on this. So you can see, based on someone rating the performance as green, they've indicated that Ask Emma solved their need and answered the question. We also have the opportunity with the performance being red as it is on the bottom of this slide to dig in deep and actually see the actual conversation. Again, the person is not identified, so we have seen that people have become very comfortable sharing their feedback, knowing that it can be. So I mentioned a couple minutes ago about the training experience with Emma. So we have a dashboard within the console where we can look at organized chats by date and time, by fail rate, by the types of questions. And then the blue box that says small talk, that's the example of someone where they maybe spelled something wrong, or they just want to relate to the bot in a personable way. We've actually had folks ask how Ask Emma's doing. Does Emma have a pet? Is Emma visiting the branch soon, et cetera? So that may sound a little silly or trivial, but that's just been an opportunity to have Emma ingrained in our culture. And it also gives us an opportunity on topics that need more honing or more emphasis as we create. That's just been an opportunity to have Emma ingrained in our culture. And it also gives us an opportunity on topics that need more honing or more emphasis as we create the procedural journey. One of the most important things we did that we did not do at first is I'd encourage anybody who's looking at this type of solution, this gives you the opportunity to create content and organize reporting, analytics, and structure by department. So early on when we did our bill pay conversion, we learned late that putting everything under general information probably wasn't a great idea. The nice thing about Emma, you can easily tag the type of procedure or process this is. For example, whether it's card services, checking accounts, auto loans, you can organize your structure any way you want, where people searching for the general topic will see a list of things that might be there, but it also gives you an opportunity to data analyze and report to executive management, to other leaders, where the trends are and what people are talking about. So by doing this, we realized, if you look at this example, operational support, which was my team, there was a lot of opportunity to provide content based on non-product items that people were calling my folks on the phone on. And then we can actually see everything we put under the different category in one simple step. So as you can imagine, the journey with Actionable Science has been an amazing one for us. I did not expect to be building on to Ask Emma in the powerful way that we are now. So some of the things that are on the horizon for us, I would love a live chat opportunity where folks could actually reach out. If Emma's not able to provide complex or multi-step information for the team member, we could then reach out to my group via text and escalation. Currently, we go into Salesforce or other systems to do those escalations. So we're looking at the idea of integrating that as one step through Ask Emma. And then Member Service Platform is our CRM that we use at Patelco. So we use a Salesforce-based CRM platform. And Zendesk is our IT escalation platform. We're looking at integrating those solutions through Actionable Science partnering with us, which the team has wholeheartedly asked for. So that's been the journey we've taken in about 25 minutes. So I'll be available, of course, for any questions at the end they asked for. So that's been the journey we've taken in about 25 minutes. So I'll be available, of course, for any questions at the end.
Eric, thank you so much. I think all of us on this webinar can very clearly sense the passion you have for making this a success, and the passion you have for just improving the quality of your member service. I'm sure that's what has helped you make your team members that much more effective, efficient, and productive. And I'm sure that's what has led to the fast adoption and increased hunger for future upgrades to your experience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you.
Now I'll turn this presentation over to the two strategic partners who are sponsoring this webinar. Incidentally, Patelco. So I'm going to request Fabio, our advisory and services partner, to first launch off and share some thoughts about practical tips for embarking on an AI journey. And then Manish Sharma, Chief Operating Officer for Actionable Science, to present what's been critical and what's new in our solution. So over to you, Fabio.
Thank you very much, Kumar. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be talking to you. This is Fabio Sant'Anna. I lead the intelligent automation offering at SRM. I think I have control of the slides here. Okay. So SRM, many of you already know, it's a consulting company. It's been in the market since '92. It's heavily focused in financial services. We have about 700 financial services clients. More than half of them are credit unions. So we're very focused in this space, and we help our clients with their performance, with their bottom line. As part of that, we have the intelligent automation offering, which leverages a number of technologies along those objectives to help our clients with their bottom line. If you look at the intelligent automation space, we see that as a number of technologies, some more or less recent, some very mature. that help with operational efficiencies and member experience. It essentially helps a credit union do things faster, better, cheaper, and helps with the member experience. If we look at the middle here, we have a technology that's very popular these days, robotic process automation, which helps automate clerical repetitive steps that can be scripted. And then you have a software robot that executes those steps just like a person does on the screens, and it automates the full workflow of work. It is great, but it has limitations, and then we complement it with the technology at the top, OCR, to extract information from documents and images. And we have a full set of technologies in the AI space at the bottom, which helps with unstructured information and self-learning. And we have multiple solutions that we offer here for multiple purposes, such as extracting information, self-learning. And we have multiple solutions that we offer here for multiple purposes, such as extracting information from free text and others. As part of that, one of the solutions is chatbots and voice bots to help with the interface, self-service interface for members and also for employees. In this space, we looked for solutions in the markets that we felt would be high value for our credit union clients. And we got to know about Actionable Science, which we felt was a great solution. We interacted with the whole key team, saw it was great people. We talked to clients of Actionable Science, and they all had great things to say, both about the solution and about the overall experience partnerships should look like. So we decided to get very close to Actionable Science and formalize the partnership. We are talking to a few other players in these other buckets here. We are vendor agnostic, but we like to be close to some very good solutions to establish our own capabilities and help our clients. So what can all these solutions do for you? They can help you with the member experience by simplifying the interface, like with Actionable Science, where in English, people can request information or request to have things done instead of having to go find information in some website in a difficult to find place or call a call center and so on and be on the line. They can instantaneously get what they need with a simple English interface. These solutions can also help you do things faster. They can help you help members open an account faster or close a loan faster, much faster than what you can do manually through manual processes today. These solutions can also help you reduce costs and risk, automating, for example, back office operations. Software robots can execute clerical repetitive steps much faster than people can at a fraction of the cost and with no errors. So you'll eliminate a lot of the pain points that you may have today. They also help you very much empower your staff. We just saw the whole solution Eric got implemented, how it helped people find information they needed and be more effective at work. These solutions also help minimize training needs and minimize pain points that you may have with staff turnover and getting new people on board. So how do you get started with these solutions? There's so many solutions out there outside of this space, plus in this space, and there's a limited budget. How do you go about figuring out how to start with these solutions? And why do it right now, after all? Well, if you look at everything else that's out there and probably some of the projects that you have today, the investment many times is significant and projects can take a long time. It's not so with many of these solutions. You can start small with small projects with modest spend and get very significant benefits. Why do it now? A lot of the large players are already doing this. They are already serving their customers fast and getting their costs down and so on. You can achieve similar results with modest spend with these solutions. The first thing for you to do, if you know exactly what to automate, is to get a pilot going. But many of our clients are not very familiar with the space. So what we suggest is a quick scan done by an expert to help you find the best use cases that will provide you the best bang for the buck and help you figure out the good solutions for your use case. Then you get the pilot implemented, you get the momentum, you get the success. You can see that Eric achieved success with starting first with a small knowledge base and then growing the solution to cover a lot of other situations. So once you get the momentum, you get the success, you scale, you grow the solution, you implement those solutions, take them live, and you operate those robots. With this, I would like to pass it to Manish for the sequence.
Thank you, Fabio, our fabulous partner in automation space, and thank you, Eric, for the wonderful presentation. The best news I can give everyone on here is that I'm going to keep it really small, maybe 2 minutes. So thank you for your patience and being here today. So, we are a California-based company. We have been around for 2.5 years, and one thing that I must mention is we are a big Microsoft partner. So a lot of the products that we have created, the AI component that is coming, we are actually using Microsoft. So what you are getting is a very standard product, which is going to be here for a while. We are not going anywhere because we are not like a small shop which has started AI on its own, but we have very extensive partnership with Microsoft, and our product is based on their technology. So this is going to stay. We also, operate in multiple spaces. So what you saw today was a discussion about Emma, but we also operate in HR, in IT help desk, in sales and service. And the reason is very simple, because think about it, your organization is not going to have 15 different AI solutions at the end of the day, right? They will want a single platform that can scale all over the place. You have use cases in member support, brand support, teller, HR operation, employee onboarding, automation of HR tasks, IT help desk, all those kind of things everyone faces them. Help desk, all those kind of things everyone faces them, right? And therefore, instead of just specializing in one, we took some time, but we have built a specialization in all of the above. Finally, I just want to mention real quick, there are different kind of automations, right? Like the way we look at it from our point of view, there is a knowledge automation, which is what we largely talked about today. Then there is a task automation. For example, hey, reset my password, which is what Eric mentioned he wants to do next. And then there is a process automation. For example, onboard an employee, onboard a customer. Now, those kind of automation need a product to have, almost a BPM or work process orchestration kind of capability. Luckily, we have a product that can do all three kind of automations, level 1, level 2, and level 3. And that is a distinction that to you. One of the features that you are seeing here is a ticketing platform. So we have created a very smart ticketing platform, which is completely integrated with this. So for example, for HR, for IT help desk, or eventually, our idea is eventually to challenge other ticketing systems that exist in the system by creating a system that is AI driven. It's built differently. So that's one of the new features that we have brought. And another new feature that might be interesting is a live chat, which Eric also mentioned about ability to have a conversation with a human when need be, when the AI cannot help you humans should help you, right? Nobody should go empty-handed. Nobody should have a frustrating experience. If AI cannot help you, let at least someone else come and help you, right? That is the AI plus human collaboration, which we believe is very important. The last thing I would say is that all this, we didn't mention this, is available on mobile. Last thing I would say is that all this, we didn't mention this, is available on mobile. Imagine being able to onboard an employee on your mobile phone, or imagine being able to help your clients, by just looking at your iPad. And I'm looking at the people who have registered right now, who are on the webinar right now. Quite a few of you have actually are here on a mobile phone and an iPad. That's very surprising, in some ways, but in some ways it is not surprising at all. So you and me, all of us are doing all this on the go. Just imagine all of this available at your phone. So anyway, this is the update from us. We are very thankful for all of you being here. And Kumar, I'll hand it over back to you.
Thank you very much, Manish. A big vote of thanks for all the three presenters. Eric, supported by Manish. A big vote of thanks for all the three presenters. Eric, supported by Fabio and Manish. Thanks, audience, for submitting some questions. So I'm going to pick a couple of them. We're running a little behind time, but I'll try to squeeze in at least a couple, if not three. I think, Eric, the first question is best probably addressed by you. The question is, how has the experience been on managing the growth of knowledge management at Patelco? And when you needed help, how did you get help from Actionable Science?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I would say the previous experience when we were looking at our internal created intranet, we had the ownership of procedural creation in the hands of folks that maybe didn't necessarily know how to do it or feel comfortable doing it. So one of the transformations that worked with Emma was by being in a place where we made that the way to access the knowledge you needed. It allowed us to be disciplined in how we showed folks how you create content, how to make it easy for the team to understand and access. So it actually allowed us to really get people who were uncomfortable creating content to get more comfortable creating it. And I think the ability to see how content was being received by the user, whether helpful or not helpful, was a really nice way for folks to get the feedback they had been yearning for without Emma. And Emma allowed a safe space for people to actually talk in detail about what they wanted to see as an end user. And by doing that, it actually built the confidence of the entire team that's building this, where previously that had been separated by department and it felt very siloed. So we're in a good place today. Emma accidentally helped us get there, but has created unity that we didn't have before on keeping content updated.
Excellent, Eric. Thank you for that, walkthrough. Another question, I'm sorry it's coming right back at you because you're the key architect of your journey. So the second question I see here is, what was the most challenging issue you faced in enlisting participation for Ask Emma program? And how do you plan to sustain it going forward?
Yeah, I would just, I'm laughing because I'm remembering the past. I would say getting the enrollment of executive management and retail management, that this could be something, executive management and retail management, that this could be something that's not just a pilot, but something we wanted to do ongoing. That was probably the biggest obstacle I faced. A lot of those folks felt this would be great to try just for the conversion, but they were thinking a couple of years after the conversion, we might consider converting the entire intranet. So getting them aligned with the idea that we could use Ask Emma as a conduit until we get to a new intranet, and that we can actually use ask Emma, even in the new intranet, that took some time and some meetings. But what spoke to the answer was the results. So when the executives saw how the usefulness rating was going up, how more people were asking questions, we realized more people were going to the source of truth rather than making up the answers or perhaps giving the wrong answer. So Emma's performance actually was the biggest enroller to changing that behavior. And so now we see Emma as a long-term iterative solution, not just a temporary solution for conversions.
Great. Really appreciate that, Eric. The last question, and I promise this is the last, can actually be taken by either you or Manish. For relief, maybe Manish. So Manish, the question is, does Ask Emma or your solution integrate with other systems?
Sure. Yep, it does. So we integrate with a bunch of ticketing systems. As Eric mentioned, we are planning to integrate with Zendesk, but we also integrate with Met. We integrate with all of those. Then we also integrate with a bunch of HR systems like, Ultipro, Workday, and all those systems. Then we integrate with a bunch of like ATS, applicant tracking systems for employee onboarding. We also integrate with Salesforce, like various kind of systems there. We also build custom integrations, and that's where SRM, our partner, comes into the play, where they will help. If you need a customized solution, that is where SRM can come in and help you build that customized solution, build that vision for you, and build that customized solution along with us. So yes, the short answer is yes, we can integrate with pretty much most of the